Okay, there we go. Okay, so today we were going to discuss German occupations and talk a little bit about some of the occupations that our own families may have had. And I'll also show you a little discovery I made last night. It's always like, last night I started doing something. I'm like, I really need to find this record. And I found it, but it was a little bit of an odd way of looking for it. So we'll talk a little bit about that at the end of the meeting today too. So I'm going to share my screen and
lost something. Uh-oh. I don't know what I did.
uh-oh.
I did something and it's gone. I don't know what to do. I'm gonna go back to the.
Let's see. So you can't see my screen?
I'm seeing Zoom something.
Oh.
Post attendee Zoom. Maybe I'll close that out. And I'm gonna go back to put that on and open the meeting and maybe, oh, I got it. Okay, thank you.
Okay. So as I said, we're talking about our ancestors' lives. We're going to focus in on German occupations today. So when we talk about the occupations, that had a lot to do with the person's social standing in their community. So when we talk about the people who had the upper social standing in their communities, people like the vote, which was the bailiff, and that person was appointed by the lord of the land, the burgermeister, the mayor, and that was either an appointed position by the lord or elected by the burghers. The Feldwachter, and that's the person who enforced the property boundaries, laid out the planning regulations, make sure that all the farmers were abiding by the rules. The Kostenmeister, and that was the town treasurer. The Zentgraf was the town tax collector. The burghers were the citizens with full rights. So again, they were able to vote for the mayor if that was a possibility in their community. And then you had the Hintersassen or the Beisassen, and these were the people who didn't own property and they had fewer rights within the community. And the burghers, which, as I said, we'll go back to it quickly, were the citizens with full rights. They had to be legitimate sons of a burgher. So it was basically an inherited position. You had to be the legitimate son of a burgher within the community to become a burgher. You had to be of good moral standing. So, they had a little moral test to make sure that you weren't a drunkard or something else in order to be a burgher. You had to pay a fee. And out-of-town applicants could become burghers, but they had to own property. They had to provide proof of legitimate birth from their community. They had to be of good moral standing, and they also had to pay the fee. The town councils decided whether or not you could become a citizen, though. So you had to apply to become a burgher, meet all these requirements, and then the town council decided if you were good enough. The craftsmen were the middle class in the communities. And so the number of craftsmen in the town were regulated. You couldn't have 15 bakers in the town. So they established the number of bakers that were, sufficient to, or the number of craftsmen that were sufficient to provide the goods that the community needed. And young boys were apprenticed at the ages between 12 and 16. And then they served a 2 to 4 year journeyman process. And after they finished their apprenticeship and their journeyman process, then they had to prove their abilities to the masters of the community in order to practice the craft. And then each community had guilds for the various different trades. So the Butchers Guild, the Tanners Guild, shoemakers, tailors, all of them were organized into professional organizations. And those professional organizations provided the training of the apprentices, and they regulated the practice of the trade in the community. So you can see here, this is a town's guild list. And you can see over here on the left-hand side was the Bakers Guild. And then on the right-hand side was the Barbers Guild. And above that was the Architects Guild and the Doctors Guild. And the, let's see which ones I can figure out here. The other ones, I can't figure out what the other ones mean. But you can see they had artist guilds and other craftsmen's guilds also within those communities. And the guilds kept records. So they kept membership records. And you can find those membership records in the town archives. So you'll find there's modern guilds, and they will have the historic records in those town archives associated with the guilds that existed there. And a few of these guild records have been published. So in order to find the guild records, you first have to know what town your family lived in, and you have to know the occupations that they had. And once you've gotten that information, then you can go and see if that town has guild records for those occupations. So on family search, you can go into the catalog, and then under subjects, you can type in Germany and occupations and see what comes up. So you can see here, I got a list of occupations, and you can see there by region. So by first region is Baden, then Bern, then Hessen, then Mecklenburg and Prussia, and so on. But you can see if you look into those a little bit more, they're by town. And so you have to look at the towns within those regions to see what occupations were there. And then once you figured out the region, the town, and the occupation, or the region and the town, then you can open up that information and you can see the guild books for that town. So you can see the different guilds for this one town that I opened up here. Of course, they're all written in German, so you have to know the name of the guild in German or in order to find that. And you can see that all of these guild books are digitized, and you can go into them and view them in Family Search. You cannot search them. They have not been indexed in this case here, and very few of these have been indexed. So you'll have to go page by page to find your ancestor if they're listed in those guild books. And many of these occupations became surnames. So in my case, Meyer was the manor landlord or the self-employed farmer. This was the farmer who owned land and farmed that land. The Bauer were the peasants or the farmers on others' lands. So the Bauer may have worked for a Meyer, and the Bauer farmed the land that the Meyer owned. Schmidt would be smith. So this would be your blacksmith or your metalsmiths in the town. The Schultz would be sheriff. I find that interesting because we watch a lot of Hogan's Heroes on television, and Sergeant Schultz is the guard of the prison camp. So that would have been the sheriff in the community. And the Ziegler would have been the brickmaker. So all of these are common last names that you would find in German families that represent occupations that the families may have had. And there's a lot of other occupational surnames also, like Zimmerman would have been your carpenter. The Kohler would have been the charcoal maker. The Schumacher or shoemaker. Mueller would be miller. Kruger would be the innkeeper. And if you're from up north, you know the store Kroger's. And so that would be an interpretation of the Kruger family. And Pfeiffers would be pipers. So there's a lot of web pages out there where you can go, and this is a list of a couple of them. And what I'll do is I'll copy and paste these into the chat here when we're done with the presentation. And you can go into these websites and see the lists of occupations that they have. And then also Family Search has a surname site where you can type in your surnames and you can get meanings of those surnames. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post those links, and I'm going to stop sharing here and go back to the list into our chat area. So there's the list of occupations. And then here is the list for the surname meanings that you can go into and play around with those. So what I would suggest is you all know that you can save the chats, right? In the chat, there's three little dots down at the bottom of it. And when you click on, at the top of the chat. And, oh, that's not there. Let's see.
Oh,
Dun, dun, dun. Hold on a second. There is a chat. Let me do one thing here. I'm going to turn off the participants. Okay. So when you're looking at the chat menu, there's three little dots at the bottom. And at the top of that, it says save chat. And then below that, it says chat with no one, host, everyone, so on. If you click on the save chat, it saves as a text file onto your computer. And so you can get that information later if you're interested in doing that.
that's a good
I
hint.
guess I still don't see the three little
Mine,
dots.
mine said copy, but I'm copying too.
Yeah, right where you would enter in the chat information at the bottom of the chat,
Yeah,
there's at the top where it says, where it has those three little buttons.
Yeah,
At the top of that three little buttons, it should
oh, yeah, I
save
see.
chat.
yeah. Save chat. Okay.
Right on.
So that'll, so you can save the chat whenever I post things. And that way you don't have to copy and paste it. It's saved in a text file, and then you can open that up and go into those links later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up one of these sites and share the screen here again. So you can see one of these. So this is the European Roots website. And you can see here it says English term leather trade. And you can see all of the different words that were used for leather trade. And what those, why they had some of these different ones. Then you have tanners. And then so all of the terms that were used for different types of tanners. So you had like black tanners and white tanners and parchment makers and other related occupations. You had the different shoemakers. Some were leather shoemakers, some were cobblers, some were repairmen, some were wooden shoemakers, and each of those had different names associated with them. If you were a belt maker, these are the terms for belt makers. If you were a whip maker, if you were a purse or glove maker, you would see those terms. So you can see there's a lot of different words for these various different occupations. And this goes on for a long time. I'll just, there's the end of it right there. So, there's a lot of different words that were used for these different occupations. So it's an important resource there, going into those and seeing what you've got. Now, I mentioned that I had done a little bit of research last night and discovered some interesting things. So what I want to do is I want to share some information here on my great-great-grandparents. And can you see the family search webpage?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is Johann Clemens von Ley and Anna Maria Theresa Garman, and my great-grandfather, Bernard Emanuel Garman. So I'm doing another talk coming up for a conference on how to track your German ancestors from the United States back, and how to find the towns that they came from. Well, I had Anna Maria Theresa Garman in here. Oops, I'll just sign in there first. And I knew based on my research that she had come from the town of Halverde. And so you can see Halverde, Tecklenburg, Westphalia, Germany. And I had a marriage record or a death record for her. And you can see this death record here. And it says Anna Maria Theresa Garman and her husband, Johann Clemens von Ley. And, it says she was 56 years old and 16 days. She died on the 5th of October and she was buried on the 8th of October. And all of this was in, I believe, 1848, or not 1848, 1886. Okay. So that was her death record. And I had already found this death record. But then at the bottom of her record, you see it says Geb 19930, and guess 3/18/48. Well, this is her birth date, 9/19/1830, and her marriage date, 10/3/1848. So this death record gave me a lot of really great information. So I've now got that information, and this is all in matricula, okay? So in matricula, I went to Halverde, St. Peter and Paul's Catholic Church records, and it says the records are from 1811 to 1911. But notice that there's a little group here, 1811 to 1814, for baptisms, marriages, and deaths. And then there's 1868 to 1886, and then 1909 to 1911. So what happened between 1814 and 1868? There's no records. And as you noticed, she was born in 1813 and married in 1848. So according to this, I can't find the marriage or the death or the birth record because it's not in these archives. So what should I do? Any ideas? No ideas? So notice that this is from the Munster diocese. Okay, so that's a little bit larger area. And so what I did was I went in and looked up Munster archives, and I found, pull up a web page here, Munster archives, and yeah, I'm not going to get the nice German page because I'm going to get all sorts of things now because I didn't spell it correctly. So let me go back and do this again. Okay, notice I got different information, and here's the state's archives for Munster. So I opened that up, and you can see it's in the Nordrhein-Westfalen archives. I'll go back to that real quick. So you can see the archives of Nordrhein-Westfalen. So this is the state's archives of Munster in the regional archives, Nordrhein-Westfalen. So when I go into the states or the town archives, it gives me all the information. Of course, it's written in German, but I've translated it with my Google Translate button. And when I ask it, when I look at the records, it says there's records from 1184 to today. So quite a bit of records. The offices are located in the following locations. I can get an inventory, but there are no digital archives. I'm like, what? No. So what I was looking for now is I want to know, it asked me what archive material am I looking for? So I typed in Halverde. And when I typed in Halverde, I get the Nordrhein-Westfalen archives and the results for Halverde. And since she was born in 1930 and married in, or 1830 and married in 1848, I went in and I'm looking for the 1848 records, or I can put 1829 to 1831 and get the 1830 records. Now, notice over here, the only record that's digitized happens to be the church books for all of the towns, including Halved, which is Halverde. And it's on page 160 to 170 of this materials. And there's a copy of them there. And I went in and I went to the page, and here is her marriage record. Johann Clemens von Ley, his father, Johann Heinrich von Ley. And then it lists his occupation here in Reisenbeck. He was 33 years old when he was married. And then Anna Maria Theresa Garman, her parents, her father, Johann Gerhard Garman, and his occupation in Halverde, and she was 18 years old. So this occupation here, does anybody know what that is?
Farmer.
Farmer. Yes.
I have a few of those in my tree.
Yeah.
What is that word?
It's a COLON.
I never saw that one related to farmer before.
Yeah. So he was a farmer or landowner. And so that's why Johann Clemens von Ley took the Garmin name, because Anna Maria Teresa Garmin inherited the farm.
Hmm.
And I haven't figured out what this one is yet, but you can see it's something man as his occupation. And you can see that he was from Reisenbeck. And so now I just need to find the Reisenbeck records and start locating his records. Over here, this is her baptism record. So you see Anna Maria Teresa. See
Can you go
Colonus,
back a minute, go back to your previous slide.
this one.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, right there, I think that's, the first half of the word that's finished on the next line.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Is
so
that-
it's MANN down here. I just can't figure out what this part is yet. Like I said,
yeah.
I just found this last night. I'm thinking it's FURNF, FURNF, but I don't know if that's right or not.
I think that's an H, an F, I think.
Yeah, it
I don't
could
know,
be.
been a long time since I looked at, script.
Yeah, so I'll have to, like I said, I just found this last night at 9 o'clock at night. So I haven't done any research on this one yet, but I'll have to figure that one out. I was also, able to find the baptism record. So here she is, 19 September and 1830 is the year. And then it talks about her father, Johann Gerhard Garmin, Colonus, that's the farmer. Anna Angela Schweigman is the mother. This is a town here, so I'll have to look in that town and see if I can find some information. I think it's a town. I'll have to read that to make sure. And then going on, you see the witnesses for the baptism, and then you see the baptism date here, and then the recorder. So going back to, this one record that happened to have these dates, and then leaving the matricula church records and going to the archives, I was then able to find her marriage record and her birth record, or her birth record and marriage record, and get further information that then I can use to gather more information. Then I went in and I did Reisenbeck, and you can see here, this one is digitized. And again, this is the church duplicate records for Reisenbeck, 1815 to 1848. And I started going through, I'm now in 1823. Johann was born in 1824. So I have to keep going through a few more pages to get to the right location. But you can see that there are lots of pages to go yet. And so I have to keep, going to find those records. So I'll do that later this evening, maybe if I have time. But you can see that the occupation was important enough that they included that in the church records for the person. So what else do I know about my family? I know on my wife's or my mother's side of the family, my great-great-great-grandfather was a Brodebacher. That was his occupation. So anybody know what a Brodebacher would be?
Sounds like a bread baker.
It is, yes. So
Yeah.
he was the baker for that community. And he was Catholic. He married a evangelisch woman in Amsterdam. So they left Germany, went to Amsterdam to get married. And then they had several kids there. And then the children immigrated to the United States. So what other occupations does everybody have that they know about on their family lines?
I came up with, I think it said retired farmer, an AUSDINGER. It said, and then and the same person was Tagdohner. I don't know what that is.
Well, let's see if I can find that. What was it again? THO
Tag.
TAG.
Yeah, it looks like Elohner.
Ah, yes. So I'm going to share over here again. Okay, so you see here, Tagelöhner was a day laborer.
Ah.
Okay, what was the other occupation?
Ausdinger.
Okay, so that would have been, as it says here, a retired farmer.
Okay.
Yep.
And then I have another one that is GEM.
Oh, just want to say something here. Notice what it says. Retired farmers often moved to the cottage on the farm grounds beside the main house or somewhere else to a special room in the farmhouse.
Wow, they got moved out.
Yep. Okay, what was the other one you had?
It's GEMEINDERAT.
Whoops. Okay, so partially the Geimend, GEMEIND, is an official. I'm not finding that last half. How is that last half spelled again?
ERAT.
ER. So that R isn't coming up. But I would think it's probably a similar. So AMT. Did you say did you have AMT for one of yours previously?
No.
No, okay. I thought maybe you had said AMT for something.
This same official was also a Berger and a Ziegler.
Yeah.
So he was a Berger, and then he would. So you just said that was a bricklayer. So.
Yep. Yeah. So. Yep. So he would have been a Ziegler as a trade. He would have been a landowner if he was a Berger.
Mhm.
So in that case here, you know, he owned land, but he did brickwork. So bricklayers. Yeah.
Okay.
See how helpful these websites are?
Yeah. Puts it right together.
Anybody else have any occupations that they want to learn about? Or last names that they have, they want to see if they have any information on.
Well, here, take my last name, Fleischer. And my father-in-law was not a Fleischer.
So butchers,
Ah,
meaning to remove the flesh, probably.
yeah.
He
Now-
actually was a salesman, Kaufmann, which maybe you want to look at that occupation you were looking at before, because the letter K often looks kind of like a Q sometimes. So that occupation you couldn't identify might be Kaufmann.
Yeah, see, there's the Kaufman. This is trades.
Merchant.
And it doesn't say which one specifically.
Oh, it doesn't.
There'd be a surname of Stockman. Stockman.
There's a Stockmeister, which was a clerk in the courts. Looks like. I don't have Stockman
Okay.
on this list. But I'm guessing it would probably be in the same general
There
Yeah.
we go.
group.
Would you try Wemmer? WEMMER?
There's an Oshwemmer. Let's see. So it's part of a word.
That was also Wimmer, WIMMER. I've seen that before too.
So, yeah, it's in this. I'm not sure what the off part of Wemmer is. Could have been cut down. Let me try, let's see. Let me do that one. Whoops. Let's see if it pops up as a. You probably can't see this one, can you? Go in here and find my screen. Where's my screen at? There it is. Let's see. So that's the one. That's not the one being shared. I got to find out which one's being shared here. I just minimize the screen and. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, so you can see this one here. This is the surname one. So I just did Wemmer, and it says variant of Wemmer. So see
Oh, exactly what
what
W-I,
Wemmer is. There we go. Winemaker.
Widmer.
Winemaker.
Winemaker, all right.
Huh. Well, that sounds good.
How
And
about
you can
Hackleman?
see in family search, in the family search family tree, there are 4,500 in the United States, 3,800 in Germany, and about 1,700 in Austria. Now, if we do the Wemmer variation on this, you can see there's 545 in Germany, 387 in the United States, and 18 in South Africa. So it gives you a distribution of where that name is located in the trees that's on family search.
How about Hackleman, Miles? Hackelman.
Occupation name for someone whose job was to make torches
Oh,
or to carry a torch.
okay.
You can see there's 57 in the United States, part of the family tree, one in Russia and one in Belgium. So it's not a very common name in the family tree.
Uh-uh.
How about Noller, N-O-L-L-E-R? No, no K, N-O-L-L-E-R.
N-O-L-E-R.
Yeah, a lot of Nollers.
Needlemaker.
Oh,
That's interesting.
And 1,900 in Germany, 450 in the US, and 290 in England.
I got one for you, Miles. How about Spiels? S-P-I-E-L-E-S.
Okay. Jester.
A tumbler or a jester.
all right.
The town clown, I guess.
Yeah.
Great.
I was just gonna. So yeah, of course, this is the one I always put in there. Westerheide, we have no meaning. So you can see 600 in Germany, 130 in the United States, and 6 in Sweden.
Oh, wow.
Of
Okay,
course-
one more.
Of course,
When
when I
you-
do Meyer, you'll see all of this, different stuff, and there's thousands and thousands and thousands of them. That's why I
Thousands of
research them. Okay, what was the next one?
Wasserbach, W-A-S-S-E-R-B-A-C-H. You beat me
So
to it.
that's no meaning. So let's see if a meaning comes up on this one. So Wasser is
Water.
with, looks like, yes, but this is Wassermuller is a windmill operator. So let's see if Bach has a special meaning. Let's see. Privy cleaner, sewer cleaner.
All right.
Oh, wow.
Okay, how about Wurzer, Wurzer?
Ooh, that's a,
Name for a greengrocer or dealer in herbs.
Hmm,
Hmm.
mhm.
I was thinking he was gonna be a piano maker for some reason.
Wurlitzer.
Wurlitzer, right?
How about Bernhardt? Bernhard?
Yeah, I have one of those too.
Oh, do you?
Okay,
T, mine's with a T. Yeah, at the end.
let's see.
Rare, hard, brave.
Netherlands.
So it's a characteristic, brave, strong, Bernhard.
Mhm.
So not an occupation, but a characteristic. That's like if I look up my Weiss. It's, wise or clever or white, depending on the definitions. So yeah, you'll have, names after occupations or after locations.
Yeah,
Okay, here's one for you, Steinmetz. Steinmetz.
Steinmetz.
Occupational name, stonemason.
Stonemason. Okay.
Let's see if that one was, put it in over here on this. That one doesn't come up over here either.
How about Hilbert? Hilbert. There were a lot of shoemakers in that family.
So it looks like it's composed of characteristics.
I don't think my main one means much. It's REMPIS, Rempis. But that, I don't know. No I, REMPIS. Sometimes with two S's, sometimes with one.
Greek.
Short
Okay.
for remigus. Let's see, German, remigus, remigius.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like an occupation, no.
Yep.
Mhm.
And I got a last one, Burweiler. Berweiler.
No definition there, but it's French and German. Let's see if it comes up in the occupations page. Nope.
A rare one.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yep. Nothing there.
I have Wellers, Wellers. No S, Weller.
Okay. Let's see. Someone who lived by a stream.
By a well.
Yeah. Let's see. Or a derivative of Middle German to roll, revolve, or smear. Hence an occupational name for someone who made wattle and daub walls. So basically a stucco maker.
Stucco maker. Okay.
So yeah, you either a stucco, stucco maker or a person who lived near a stream or a well.
Okay, that's interesting. I like the well that lived by the stream.
So you can see how interesting it is, to go in and do a little of this research, just to see in it. Of course, I didn't look up Garmin because that was when we started with. And there we go, an angry man, gray-haired person. So it's an angry old man. Irascible German. That's what it is.
Right.
Probably others have this too, PRIEZ, which became Price in the United States, but PREIZ in Germany.
Let's see.
Okay, well, for a personal name.
Possibly someone from Pretz.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that one's after a location.
Short person. Okay, all right. Yeah, okay.
Not a whole lot of them. 10 in Hungary, 8 in Germany, and 2 in France.
Oh, okay.
in the family tree. So if you start adding your prices into the family tree,
Yeah.
you'll
Well,
increase that.
They became PRICE when they came across, of course, and that was a couple hundred years ago. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, the Americanized spelling of,
Right. Or PRIEIS is it? But it was never you. Yeah, I think I saw it with a Z instead of an S, but it may be. Okay. Anyway.
Yep.
Okay.
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 Well, we got a short group today, so
Okay, well, that was good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fun.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That
it
was
was-
fun.
and what I want to do is ask you all, do you remember what tomorrow or next month's lesson is?
Mm-mm.
No,
No.
No, I
I
don't
don't
either.
think we were told.
Hold on, I gotta pull up the right screens here. There we go. Okay.
We just leave everything to you, Miles.
I know.
Sorry.
Do it so well.
I know.
Mm.
Give us there we go. So May,
May.
remember I said May, after this one, we're blank.
Huh.
So I am looking for suggestions. I would like everybody to email me something that they would like to learn about German research or their German ancestors. So far this year, we talked about, learning our hometowns. We talked about US records and finding our German information in those. We did family history guide to talk about German research. We went to the Family Search Wiki and talked about German research. We tracked the voyage of Luvat Boki and our own ancestors. We explored German maps. We looked at German church records. And then today we talked about German occupations. So come up with some ideas or I will be forced to come up with more things.
All right.
And then the question is, do we want to go through the summer? I'm fine with it. We can do May, June, July, August. Unless everyone wants to take a break and not do anything with German research for a couple months and start back in September or whenever the big group starts back. It's up to everybody to think about that.
Well, I, for one, usually don't do too much over the summer. I'm occupied with other things.
Yeah, I would go with that. And go back to September.
I'm fine with taking a break as well. And
Well-
going back to September.
What I'll do then is I'll send an email out to the group and pose a couple questions, about what topics they want to be covered coming up in the future. And then whether people want to take the summer off. And I'm good with that. I can always use a free hour.
I bet.
We can always start September with anything new that you find that
Yeah.
that's happening between now and then that suddenly becomes available.
I'm sure there's lots of things because, I discovered I've got a whole pile of stuff sitting on the other computer, screens open, that I'm like, I have to remember this. And I don't remember what they are, but there's a whole bunch of screens, a whole bunch of tabs open on the other computer. I just hope it doesn't crash on me and reset and have to find them all over again, figure out what they were again. So
And Miles, you're doing so many different talks. You're coming up with new ideas for that all the time.
oh
So
yeah.
that's great to hear about.
Yeah.
Well, maybe by September, I'll figure out how to make my webcam work.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to stop